All right, let's talk about using AI in finance. We're going to break down exactly how you can use it safely and responsibly with a really simple but powerful framework, one that honestly protects you, your clients, and your entire career.
So, let's just get right to it with a big question. Is the way you're using these new generative AI tools putting your career at risk? Because, look, as amazing as this technology is, it brings a whole new layer of personal and professional risk that you really need to get your head around.
And here is the absolute reality check. You know that fancy enterprise license your company paid for? Well, it covers the tech, the servers, the encryption, all that stuff. What it doesn't cover is your professional judgment. It doesn't cover your fiduciary duty. And it definitely does not cover your personal liability if things go south.
Okay, so let's dig into this gap, because understanding exactly where your company's protection stops and your own personal risk starts, well, that's the key to using these tools with real confidence.
All right, pop quiz. Have a look at these 3 prompts. Now, at first glance, they look fine, right? No names, no account numbers. But which one, or ones, do you think actually crosses a line and puts client confidentiality at risk? Take a second to think about it.
The answer, which is kind of scary, is all 3 of them. Yep, every single one is a potential breach. Even without a name, each one has just enough detail that it could be traced back to a specific client. And this is all because of a concept that regulators are really starting to zero in on.
It's called re-identification risk. Think about it. A $200 million pension fund with a very specific ESG mandate and a poorly performing infrastructure slice, how many of those could there possibly be? Maybe only one. And just like that, a seemingly innocent prompt becomes a major violation of your fiduciary duties.
And if you think this is all just theoretical, let me throw a number at you. $3 billion. That was the penalty in the Wells Fargo scandal. Now, that wasn't an AI case, but it was a massive lesson in data misuse and individual accountability. It's a huge reminder that your actions with client data have very, very real consequences. So this is the gap you have to burn into your memory. The enterprise license handles the tech side of things, but your judgment, client confidentiality, your personal liability, and the specific rules for finance pros, that's all on you. The buck stops with you.
Okay, enough about the risk. Let's talk about the solution. This isn't about being scared of AI, it's about being smart with it. So let's walk through a simple protocol to keep you protected. It's called the SAFE framework.
SAFE is just a simple 4-step checklist for every single time you use an AI. First, S for secure. Make absolutely sure no confidential data gets in. Then A for adapt. Fit the AI to your workflow. F for fine-tune. Shape the output so it meets professional standards. And finally, E for execute. Put the work into practice, but with the right safeguards.
So how do you actually use this framework day to day? Well, it's pretty simple actually. It just comes down to working at 3 different levels of security. This way, you can match your protection to the task you're doing.
Honestly, the easiest way to think about this is like a traffic light for your data. Basic is your green light. Go for it with public info, market research, general learning. Safe is your yellow light. Proceed with caution. This is for practice scenarios where you've stripped out every possible identifier. And ultra safe, that's your red light. Stop and completely abstract the problem. This is for sensitive, complex stuff where you only talk about frameworks and principles.
Okay, theory's great, but what does this look like in the real world? Let's go back to those unsafe prompts from our little quiz and see how we can flip them into powerful, professional, and totally compliant tools. You'll see the key is all about shifting from specifics to principles.
So here's a perfect before and after. Instead of asking about one specific client's portfolio, you zoom out. You abstract the problem. You ask about the strategies and methodologies for that type of portfolio. You get the powerful insights you need with zero client risk. It's a game changer.
And it's exact same logic for regulatory questions. You never, ever mention your specific client or their numbers. Instead, you ask about the general regulatory rules that apply to any institution in that situation. You're just abstracting the problem to get a safe, super useful answer. And then for that top-tier, ultra-safe, you strip out everything but the core ideas. You're not asking about your desk's position after the ECB announcement. No, you're asking for the universal frameworks and methodologies for managing that kind of currency risk. You get the strategic insight you need completely safely.
So let's boil it all down. What do you need to walk away with? First, your professional judgment is still king. A framework like SAF is here to help your decision-making, not replace it. Second, The big skill you need to develop is turning specific client problems into general questions about principles and frameworks. That one shift reduces your personal risk, and you'll find actually makes you way more efficient.
And that really is the bottom line, isn't it? The goal here isn't to run away from AI or be afraid of it. It's about learning to use it like an expert. And when you use a simple, systematic approach like the SAFE framework, you take what could be a career risk and you turn it into one of your most powerful professional assets.